Welcome to History Stories Dose, one story 10 parts, subscribe now.
By the 13th century, the Middle East functioned as a thriving, deeply connected intersection of Asia, Africa, and Europe, home to immense wealth and massive libraries. At the center of it all sat Baghdad, the seat of the Abbasid Caliphate. Looking at the sophisticated brickwork and towering blue domes of its surviving ancient architecture, you can see the prestige the city commanded. Scholars and mathematicians traveled here from across the known world, even as the caliphate's actual political power slowly drained away. Thousands of miles away, the Mongol Empire had a different set of priorities. In 1253, the great Khan Mongol issued a clear directive: expand the empire westward, secure the trade routes, and destroy any power that stood in the way. To execute this, he sent his brother Hulagu Khan. Hulagu built a military force unlike anything the region had seen. It combined massive columns of highly mobile Mongol cavalry with specialized Chinese engineers and Persian tacticians. A collision became unavoidable. On one side, an ancient, intellectual capital relying on walls and historical reputation to keep it safe. On the other, a ruthlessly efficient, multinational military machine. Hulagu's campaign started with efficient precision. The Nizari Ismailis, the assassins, relied on dense, jagged mountain terrain to protect their heavily fortified strongholds. The Mongols marched right up these isolated rock formations and dismantled them one by one. With the mountain forts erased, Hulagu arrived outside Baghdad. Before attacking, he sent a message to the Abbasid Caliph, al-Mustasim, demanding his total submission. The Caliph refused. He believed his city's walls would hold, and that the historic weight of his office would force the Mongols to negotiate. The wealth and authority represented by his name stamped onto gold coins like this one provided a false sense of security. The Mongols did not negotiate. This 14th century Persian miniature shows their response. Hulagu's engineers isolated the city, severed supply lines, and deployed advanced siege weapons to overwhelm the defenses. It only took a few weeks. The walls breached, the defenses collapsed, and by February 1258, Baghdad fell. The Mongol army poured in, resulting in the destruction of ancient libraries. The 500-year legacy of the Abbasid Caliphate ended within days. As the visual here captures, the assault was chaotic. News of Baghdad's end spread, terrifying neighboring kingdoms. Rulers across the Middle East suddenly realized that even their most prestigious cities were vulnerable. No amount of historical reputation could substitute for military reality, and Mongol rule appeared poised to extend across the entire region. Following the destruction of Baghdad, Hulagu kept pushing. His armies moved into Syria, bypassing or capturing massive defensive structures with thick stone walls, just like this gateway in Aleppo. Then, the geopolitical landscape shifted. In 1259, a message arrived from the east. Great Khan Mongol was dead. This exposed a structural weakness of the massive empire. Questions of succession required immediate attention back home. Hulagu had to pull a massive portion of his army out of the Middle East and march east, leaving only a fraction of his forces behind. This exposure did not go unnoticed. In Egypt, the Mamluk Sultanate recognized that the Mongol numbers were depleted. The Mamluks possessed their own highly disciplined and heavily armored cavalry, and they aggressively prepared for impending war. In 1260, the two armies met at the Battle of Ain Jalut. Looking out over this wide valley, you can see the terrain the Mamluks used to their advantage. They used knowledge of the area and aggressive cavalry tactics to outmaneuver the remaining Mongol forces. The Mongols suffered a significant defeat. Ain Jalut shattered the myth of Mongol invincibility and halted their advance into North Africa, proving that military momentum can be broken by logistical overextension. The dream of a fully conquered Middle East ended in that valley. But Hulagu remained, establishing a new regional state known as the Ilkhanate over Persia. In the years following the destruction, the leaders who had dismantled the Islamic world's political center began adopting its culture. Over decades, the Ilkhanate rulers integrated into Persian society and eventually converted to Islam. You can see the evidence of this in buildings like this one, where Mongol authority fused with local Islamic architectural traditions and intricate blue tilework. This regional assimilation mirrored the fracturing of the empire. The vast Mongol territory split into distinct regional zones: the Yuan in China, the Golden Horde in Russia, and the Ilkhanate in Persia. Yet, sharing common commerce, they maintained linking corridors. Through this shared infrastructure, trade expanded and technologies traveled. Military supremacy does not equate to cultural supremacy. The Mongols conquered the physical landscape, but were ultimately absorbed into the civilizations they once tried to dismantle.
To be continued in Part 9.